you do understand English, but when it comes to speaking in English, you struggle. Now, why does that happen? The answer is simple. English is not your mother tongue. It's a secondary language that you're trying to acquire. So, of course, you're going to have to put in a lot more effort. It won't come to you as naturally as your mother tongue or maybe your national language. So, in order to acquire English, you're going to have to do a little more effort. Now, the good part is that you do understand English. Okay, a lot of you do understand English, but the problem is you don't know how to speak in English. The words won't come to you naturally. Now, even when you're trying to speak in English, what you do is first you think in your mother tongue or maybe in your national language, your L1, then you translate that into L2 or the English language, and then you say something. So many steps are involved in the process. So this is something that's actually creating a problem for you when it comes to speaking in the English language. Now, when you say something in your mother tongue or in L1, you don't have to put in much of an effort. It comes to you very naturally. All right, before you could even think it, words would come out pretty smooth. And this is something that you expect to do with L2 as well with either, and this is something that you expect to do with English as well. Well, you would be able to, but you need to understand that it's not something that happens in a day or two. It requires constant effort. It's not like you wake up one day and you decide that you want to speak good English and suddenly somebody gives you this book, or maybe you have subscribed to this magical YouTube channel, and after doing that you would be able to speak perfect English. Well, it doesn't work like that. Okay, it does take time, and with the passage of time you would manage to understand things pertaining to this language. You would manage to understand the culture, and then you would manage to understand the context in which you need to use this language. So it requires time and effort. What I want you to do is that I want you to understand that this is a process. Okay, so the sooner you understand this, the better. There's no magical way of acquiring this language in a day or two, or in a month or so. It takes time, and you need to understand what are the necessary steps involved in terms of learning and acquiring this language. The most important thing that you need to do is find an environment where you could actually speak this language. This is the most important thing. If you go to England and you have no choice but to speak in English, you would do that. And all you need is basic communication to get your message through. In this particular time period, things have become way more convenient. You're very lucky that you're born in this time period where social media is on the rise and everybody is connected to everybody through this particular platform, and there's no other way. You have to be good at English, and a lot of you have gotten good at English because you've been using these platforms for a very long time now. So you have this strong foundation, and even basic schooling, although they have not followed ideal methods according to certain linguists when it comes to teaching this language, they normally say that in order to acquire English as secondary language, first you need to learn to speak this language, and then you need to learn to write this language. Well, what we've been doing is that we've been learning to write English, and then later on we realize that we need to speak this language as well. So this is why it becomes kind of difficult for us to adjust. And like I said before, that there are too many processes involved. First we think in our own language, then we translate that into English, and then we say something. So these steps are involved, and due to these steps, you know, uh, we come across this problem, this state of confusion in which we think that maybe we're not that fluent, maybe we're not that good at it, maybe it takes a lot more than we could possibly imagine, and stuff like that. All kinds of thoughts would come to your mind. But the thing is, this is a process. Remember the time when you had little idea about this language, and look at you now. You are able to understand English, so it means that you're halfway there. So if you put in a little more effort, if you start practicing with yourself, maybe in front of a mirror, maybe if you could find a friend with whom you could talk to in English, or maybe if you become part of a group that speaks this language, I mean, it would be much more convenient for you. Maybe go to Facebook and find a friend who's living in England or America or any English speaking nation. So over there, if you keep having conversations on the phone, I believe that it would bring a huge impact, on your language skills. So this is a process. You need to understand this, and in today's world, wherever you go, especially in academia, you have to learn to speak and interact in the English language. If you don't do that, I mean, you're going to struggle, because every possible thing is in this particular language. And in order to pass your subjects, in order to get a degree, you need to be good at English. Okay, so you need to start treading down this particular path. So it's not difficult. Okay, understand that this is a process and you have to go along with the entire process. It's going to be difficult at first, but once you move forward, you realize that it's not as difficult as you had imagined. Okay, so go find a friend, go find a group, talk to them in English. All right, maybe watch a movie or two, every single day, and try to understand what the culture is, because language and culture, they go hand in hand. So in order to acquire a language, you need to understand English culture, and you need to understand the context in which language is spoken. So if you're familiar with the culture from where the language is stemming, it's going to be much more convenient for you. Okay, so this is it for today. If you have any questions about it, if you want to know more, you could comment below. You could go to my Instagram page, send me a direct message and let me know what you're dealing with, and maybe we could find a solution together. Okay, so this is it for today. I'll see you guys in the next one.